All praise is for Allah, who created us, guided us, and sent prophets to bring light into darkness. Peace and blessings be upon Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and upon all the prophets who came before him, from Adam alayhi salam to Isa alayhi salam. My dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. In our previous episode, we learned how Allah created Adam alayhi salam, honored him, and placed him in Jannah, but due to a mistake, Adam alayhi salam and Hawa alayhi salam were sent to earth. If you haven't watched that video, link is displayed on the screen. Please do check it out. Adam alayhi salam and Hawa alayhi salam descended to earth, but not together. They landed in different places, far apart, alone on a planet that was nothing like the home they had known. Can you imagine that? One moment you are in paradise, warm, loved, held, and the next you are standing on cold ground, surrounded by an unfamiliar world, and the person you love most is nowhere to be seen. Adam alayhi salam wandered. He called out. He searched. He made dua, prayer after prayer, day after day, his voice echoing across mountains and valleys, hoping, longing, never giving up. Hawa alayhi salam did the same. Scholars say they were separated for hundreds of years. Others say decades. Whatever the time, it was long. It was painful. It was the kind of longing that reshapes the soul. And then, on the plains of Arafat, in a place that would later become the most sacred mountain in the history of Islam, they found each other. Adam alayhi salam saw Hawa alayhi salam. Hawa alayhi salam saw Adam alayhi salam. And they wept. Not from sadness, from relief, from gratitude, from the kind of joy that only comes after enormous pain. And together, they made a home. Adam alayhi salam and Hawa alayhi salam did not sit in grief. They did not spend their days mourning what was lost. They rolled up their sleeves and they built. They built a life. Adam alayhi salam was the first farmer. He tilled the soil. He planted seeds and watched them grow. He was the first to build a shelter from the elements. Hawa alayhi salam bore their children, and scholars tell us they had many, twins at a time, generation after generation, until the earth began to fill with people. They taught their children how to pray, how to worship Allah, how to live with honor and love. Adam alayhi salam was not just the first man, he was the first teacher, the first father, the first prophet. But the more children there were, the more the world changed, and darkness was always watching. Among Adam alayhi salam and Hawa alayhi salam's children were two sons, Habil, known in the Bible as Abel, a shepherd, and Qabil, known as Cain, the farmer. In those early days, there were no large communities, families were few, and marriages were arranged between Adam alayhi salam's children. According to Islamic scholars, each birth brought twin sisters, and the custom was that a boy would marry the twin of his brother, not his own. Qabil had been matched with a girl he did not want. He wanted someone else, his own twin, who was beautiful. He refused the arrangement. He felt it was unfair. Adam alayhi salam, following divine guidance, told them, "Let each of you offer a sacrifice to Allah. Whoever's sacrifice is accepted, that will be the sign of who is right." Habil and Qabil both offered their offerings, and a fire came down from the sky, the ancient sign of acceptance. It consumed one's offering and left others untouched. The rage that exploded inside one brother in that moment
was unlike anything the world had seen.
One brother stared at another brother, and in his heart, something dark and terrible took root. One said, "He will kill the other." 3 words, the most devastating 3 words in human history. And the other brother said, "If you raise your hand against me to kill me, I will not raise my hand against you to kill you. Indeed, I fear Allah, Lord of the worlds." So, the first murder in humanity happened. One brother killed the other brother. The earth, which had never known death before, absorbed the first human blood ever spilled. And then, he stood there, panting, looking at what he had done, and the reality of it crashed down on him like a wave. He didn't know what to do with the body. He had never seen death before. No one had. He sat next to his brother's body, lost, confused, carrying a weight so heavy that even the earth beneath him seemed to sink. Allah sent a crow. It scratched the earth with its claws, dug a small grave, and buried something in the ground. And he watched it, and he understood. He dug a grave for his died brother, and he buried the brother he had once played with, grown up with, laughed with. The Quran tells us his reaction then, and he became full of regret. Imagine Adam, alayhi salam, a father, who lost one son and saw another become a murderer. This was the first broken family in human history. Lesson: even the best families can face trials, but what matters is how we respond. Adam alayhi salam had lived a long and full life. The scholars say he lived for nearly 1,000 years. He had seen entire generations born and grown. He had taught, guided, and shaped the early world of humanity. But when the news of his son's death reached him, something inside Adam broke. A father's grief has no words. To outlive your child, to know he died at the hands of your own blood, to feel responsible, even indirectly. That pain lived in Adam alayhi salam for the rest of his days. But Adam alayhi salam did not lose his faith. He did not turn away from Allah. He continued to guide his children. He continued to pray. He continued to be the prophet and father and leader that Allah had created him to be. And when his time came, when the angel of death descended, Adam alayhi salam closed his eyes with the remembrance of Allah on his lips. The first man, the first prophet, the first father, gone, but never forgotten. And the world mourned. The entire generation of humanity wept. The angels washed his body. He was buried with honor. And his legacy, the legacy of Tawheed, of worshipping one God, lived on in the hearts of his children. Generations had passed. Adam alayhi salam was gone. Hawa alayhi salam was gone. The pure teachings they had left, the worship of Allah alone, the way of life they had built, were slowly fading. This is the pattern of the world, isn't it? With every generation, something is lost. The urgency fades. The fire dims. People begin to mix truth with tradition, with comfort, with what they prefer. The descendants of Adam alayhi salam had begun to drift. Some still remembered, but many had started to forget. And so, as Allah always does, Allah answered. He sent a prophet. His name was Idris alayhi salam. Idris alayhi salam, known in some traditions as Enoch, was among the earliest of the prophets after Adam alayhi salam. Scholars trace his lineage back to Adam alayhi salam through just a few generations. He was the great-grandson of Adam alayhi salam. Allah mentions him by name in the Quran, not once, but twice.
a mark of extraordinary honor. And mention in the book Idris, indeed, he was a man of truth and a prophet. Allah also says, "And we raised him to a high station." A high station, a place so elevated that no other human being, with perhaps the exception of specific aspects of certain prophets, has ever reached it.
One of the defining characteristics of Idris Alaihi Salam was his extraordinary love for knowledge. Islamic tradition tells us that Idris Alaihi Salam was the first human being to write with a pen, the first to put words on a surface, the first to record knowledge so that it could outlive one person's memory and reach the next generation. Think about that for a moment. Every book you have ever read, every letter you have ever written, every text message you have ever sent, somewhere at the root of all of that is a prophet, a man of Allah who picked up a pen for the first time. Idris Alaihi Salam also studied the stars and the heavens. He observed the movements of the sky, the patterns of the universe. He was among the first to develop what we might call astronomy, not to worship the stars, but to see in them the signs of Allah. He understood mathematics. He understood the passage of time. He taught his community how to sew clothing. Before him, people wore only skins and rough materials. He was not just a spiritual guide, he was a civilizational force, a man who elevated the entire standard of human life around him. Prophet Idris Alaihi Salam taught us that seeking knowledge is not separate from faith. It is an expression of faith. When you study, when you read, when you grow, you are following the sunnah of a prophet. But if knowledge was one wing of Idris Alaihi Salam, worship was the other. There is a famous narration that gives us a window into the extraordinary nature of his devotion to Allah. It is said that one of the angels was deeply moved by the sheer amount of worship and prayer that Idris Alaihi Salam offered. This angel asked Allah for permission to visit Idris Alaihi Salam on earth, and Allah granted it. The angel descended. He spent time with Idris Alaihi Salam, witnessed his worship, marveled at his sincerity. A bond of spiritual brotherhood formed between them. Idris Alaihi Salam then made a request. He said to the angel, "I have a wish. Can you take me to see the angel of death? I want to make a special dua to Allah, to ask for more time so I can worship him even more." Can you sit with that for a moment? His deepest wish, his greatest longing, was not for wealth, not for power, not for fame. It was for more time to worship Allah. The angel carried Idris Alaihi Salam up through the heavens, and in the fourth heaven, according to some narrations, they found the angel of death. The angel of death was amazed. He said, "I was just this moment given the order to take the soul of Idris, and here he is, already in the fourth heaven." And there, in the fourth heaven, Idris Alaihi Salam breathed his last. But not downward, upward. His soul was raised, his station was elevated. And then, thousands of years later, another prophet would pass through those same heavens. On the night of Al-Isra wal Miraj, when our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was taken on the miraculous night journey and then ascended through the heavens, he met the prophets. In the fourth heaven, he met Idris Alaihi Salam. Idris Alaihi Salam greeted our prophet with the warmth of a brother and said, "Welcome, O righteous brother and righteous prophet." Two prophets, separated by thousands of years, meeting in the fourth heaven. If that does not fill your heart with wonder, I don't know what will. The lessons of Prophet Idris Alaihi Salam for our time. 1. In a world that separates religion from education, Idris Alaihi Salam shows us that this division is a lie. The most powerful human being is the one who seeks knowledge and praise, who reads and makes dua, who studies and worships. 2. Is written by your actions. Idris Alaihi Salam invented writing, and he used it to preserve the truth of Allah. What are you writing with your life? What legacy are you inscribing in the hearts of those around you? 3. Consistency is everything. The narrations tell us that what distinguished Idris Alaihi Salam was not dramatic miracles, it was his extraordinary consistency. He worshipped every single day. He sought knowledge every single day. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "The most beloved deeds to Allah are the most consistent ones, even if they are small." 4. True elevation comes from Allah alone. The world tells you that elevation comes from followers, from money, from fame. Idris Alaihi Salam was elevated by Allah himself, raised to the heavens. No promotion, no algorithm, no applause, just the sincere worship of the one who holds the universe in his hand. 5. Ever stop learning. Idris means he who studies diligently in Arabic, literally derived from the root darasa, to study. His very name is a lesson, a reminder that learning is not something you do until you graduate. It is something you do until your soul is called back. My dear brothers and sisters, we began this journey in paradise with a man made of clay and a woman made of love, living in perfection. We watched them fall. We watched them weep. We watched them search for each other across an unfamiliar earth. We watched their children grow, and we felt the heartbreak of a jealousy that led to the first murder. We felt Adam alayhi salam's grief as a father, and then we watched Allah, in his infinite mercy, send a light into that darkness, a prophet who wrote and studied and worshipped until Allah lifted him to the heavens. What is the thread that runs through all of these stories? It is this: no matter how far you fall, if you turn back to Allah, He will raise you higher than you ever imagined. Adam alayhi salam fell from paradise, and Allah raised him as the first prophet and the father of humanity. Idris alayhi salam lived on a broken earth, surrounded by people who had forgotten, and Allah raised him, literally, to the fourth heaven. Whatever you are going through right now, whatever mistake you have made, whatever darkness surrounds you, whatever grief has broken your heart, the same Allah who raised Adam alayhi salam from clay, the same Allah who raised Idris alayhi salam to the stars, is watching you, loves you, and is waiting for you to call. Make your dua, open your Quran, take one step toward Allah, and He will come to you at a run. May Allah purify our hearts from jealousy, grant us sincerity, protect us from the mistakes, and give us love for knowledge like Idris alayhi salam. Ameen. Jazakumullahu khairan.